Tonight on Jimmy Jam's Nerdy and Chaotic Review Show, we are finally doing Alien 3. And not only are we doing that, it's the first time done on my channel, so I don't have to keep piggybacking Carl the Madman over there. Carl the Madman, such a great channel. Make sure to go check it out. And he got lots of videos on there too, and me and him have been doing lots of work for years, so definitely go check out his channel. And if you're also watching, and I am going to be doing an edited version of this in future time. It'll take me a while because I'm back to work, and stuff takes time when you're back to work after a while, I guess. God, my animations take way too long. Anyways,
Stupid.
right? Stupid work gets in the way of fun. God, if I could get paid to do this. So again, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, no. So yeah, we're going to be talking about Alien 3, one of the most hated, debated, and one of the, I can't say it's a bad installment in the I know everything that happened in the background, like as much as has been released of like what happened to make this movie, and what came out of it is all right. And what I'm talking about also is the assembly cut that didn't come out for like 3 or 4 years after the theatrical cut, once they put out the quadrilogy box set. That I actually had the original VHS one, but Carl the Madman there actually has my DVD set of it. Yeah, I lent it to him because it's almost impossible to find the assembly cut online. Like it doesn't stream anywhere else. You go to stream it, like on Disney. It's the theatrical version, which is, in my opinion, again, a far weaker version of this movie. But yeah, so okay, so I'm just gonna get a little bit into it for a minute here. Uh-oh.
Sorry.
What
I'm goofing around now.
Uh-oh.
Goofing around.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, what's Carl got going over there?
I'm just goofing around. Okay, is this thing working? Okay, this thing's working. Okay. Go check out Jimmy Jam's channel. Subscribe. It's there. We're doing this thing. It's fun. Okay, there we go. Okay, stop
It's
that.
fun as hell.
There we go.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, there it goes. Okay, I'm ready.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah. So this movie is, I'm going to start off right at the beginning. So this movie came off the heels of Alien.
Sorry, give me 1 sec. My fucking light here.
No worries. You're back to the red light.
This is bad.
Carl's working in the red light district. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. We were both scrambling. Me and him both just finished watching the movie separately, but just finished watching it. And I, again, don't know what I'm doing with live, so I just kept pushing buttons and trying to figure it out. But yeah, again, I hope the two of you that are out there watching this are enjoying it so far. Yeah, and I guess I'll wait for my co-host to reassess his lighting situation. That's okay. That's why we do the live shows. I can cut this or I can keep it for bloopers at the end. I love it.
Being ready, but the movie was.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I forgot to tell you that the assembly cut is like 30 minutes longer or something. It's like almost a half hour longer than the theatrical cut.
There we go. I don't know. How's that look now? Is that a little better?
Yeah. It's less satanic red. Less satanic red. I'll give you. I mean, it kind of matches with the. There you go.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Fuck.
It's a good contrast.
Who hired this guy?
Who's doing this? That's why it's good. It's on my channel.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to like damn near the beginning of the story of this movie, because the most interesting point of this movie is the production troubles and what actually happened with this goddamn movie. The movie itself is, well, we'll get into that, but I'm gonna throw a little bit of my nerd knowledge right ahead. So coming off the heels of Aliens in 1986, I believe, 3 years later, Fox was like, we're doing a sequel. And they put out a trailer. And I'm going to get the trailer. I'm going to download it. I'm going to edit it in here so people can watch it. But it's a trailer. And it has the alien egg. And then it kind of turns into the Earth. And it's like, and it does kind of like the alien Earth, what we're doing now.
We discovered in space, no one can hear you scream. In 1992, we will discover on Earth, everyone can hear you scream.
The TV show that's coming out, but dog. We like dogs. Yeah. But it went to like and then the voiceover was something about like, on Earth, everyone can hear you scream. To make a reference to the original that in space, no one can hear you scream, which is the original tagline for the Alien, which is, again, one of my favorite taglines ever. And for a long time, I didn't know that was the tagline for Alien, and that's where that saying came from. Even being a huge fan as a kid, like, I knew that saying, like, in space, no one can hear you scream. I've heard that, like, parodied in tons of things, but I didn't actually put it together that it was from Alien. Anyways, enough of my side rambling on side rambling. So, on the heel of that, they put out this video that put up this trailer that says, so it alludes to the fact that the aliens are going to be on Earth, which, like, is finally happening now, like, almost, 30 years later? 92, yeah, like, over 30 years later, we're finally doing it. Anyways, so they do this, but they had no script, they had no story, they had nothing put together, like nothing. And then they put a release date of 1992. So that put a 3-year limit on the whole production, and they stuck by it. Like for some reason, Fox wouldn't budge. They wouldn't delay the movie. They stuck by this stupid fucking release date, and they had no script. And then, so the original script that was written for this, Ripley was supposed to crash land on a planet that was like the whole outer core was made out of wood, pretty much. Like these guys, they were like space Amish. I guess would be a good way to put it. And she lands there, and they reject her, and Bishop survived. They all survive. They die in different ways in that script, but they all survived originally the crash landing. We'll get to that bullshit. We'll get to that. But yeah, so originally it was this wooden planet, like space Amish people, and it was like a highly populated planet. And it was kind of Earth-like, but not. But then somebody took that script and changed it to a prison planet. And then they said, okay, we're going to go with this script. We'll go with this idea. And then they put like 30, I guess, I'm not exactly sure, but again, the budget for this movie was almost 3 times the budget for Aliens, which is a fucking masterpiece, and still holds up to this day. The special effects are amazing, which this movie, they are not.
Triple Aliens or Alien? Aliens. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a big budget then.
Yeah, Aliens was only about 18.5, and this one was close to 60. Close to 60 million.
For fuck's sakes, my dog is tangled up in my lights.
It's all good, Carl. It's all good.
Sorry, how too.
We're like 12 minutes in. We're good. We're 12 minutes in. We won't get anything, I think. Please don't change your guidelines. I'm trying to follow them so nicely. Anyways, again, so yeah, they changed it to a prison planet, and then they put like $20 million right away off the budget into the production of these sets, which I can't give the movie. I have a lot of bad to say about this movie, but I can't say anything bad about the actual sets. Like the production, like the prison planet itself looks like a prison planet. Like they put a lot of detail into the piping, the look of this, and that's because they had this whole different set where it was the 5,000 convicts in that penitentiary that they mentioned, and then it was more active. And it wasn't such a right back to horror like it is now. But then it got changed back to kind of like, it's going to be a little bit like the first movie because we're stripped of the weapons, where there's no big action that's really happening. It's more like confined. And so they spent all that money on the script and the production, and I don't think they had a director even set at this point. Like, they had 1 or 2 that came and went, but then they ended up going, fuck it, and they pulled in David Fincher, who is a great director after this movie. This is his first movie, and he wouldn't come back for like the director's cut or any of the behind-the-scenes stuff. He has written this movie off because of the studio's involvement. Fox ruined this movie. David Fincher did his best. And there's some really good shots. I think there's some really beautiful cinematography done in this movie. But it's depressing as shit. But again, so they bring in David Fincher, his first movie, and then the studio are sending him fucking pages of they had like 45 pages of a script. So in basic terms, a script is usually 1 page equals 1 minute of screen time, is how they kind of deal that out. So they only had about 45 minutes of screen time, somewhat planned in a script before they started shooting. And then they were getting David Fincher was getting rewrites every second day. And then they were literally having to send him, so he couldn't prepare for any of his shots. They were sending him pages every day of like, so this is what's going to happen next. This is what's going to happen next. And they kept changing things and telling him it has to be a little more comedic. It has to be a little bit more like this. And he's like, I'm just trying to make this goddamn movie and put my print on it. And he wasn't even a fan of the script. He like, the only thing that really held everything together was Sigourney Weaver coming back. Because she didn't really want to come back, Roy, but she was like, fine, I'll finish this character. Because again, Sigourney Weaver, she got nominated for an Oscar for Aliens. That's the other thing, and it won two Oscars, I believe, Aliens, and it had for sound design and visual effects, I believe, were the two that it won for. And Sigourney Weaver was actually nominated, but she lost. But that's huge for a horror sci-fi movie like that. Coming off, people expected big things, like big things, and then we got what we got. And I don't want to talk much about the theatrical version and how it came out. I would rather kind of start off just talking about the assembly cut, and then what I think about why the studio fucked up even more of the movie by chopping up the assembly cut of what was closer to David Fincher's original plan out of everything that was shot and that was usable. But yeah, I guess without further ado, we'll get into the goddamn movie, and that is Alien 3. So, Carl, what's your first impression of this movie? Just like, how did you feel going into this movie? What did you expect?
What did I expect? I don't know what I expected, but I can say that I definitely enjoyed the assembly cut more so than the theatrical one, because I almost enjoyed this movie.
Like it makes a lot more sense. A lot of the characters' reasoning and stuff is a lot better, but it's still a dark, depressing movie.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't have a lot of problems with that. But
no.
But no, it was okay. I didn't hate this movie. I didn't hate it. But I almost hated the theatrical version, and I'm glad that you can explain to me what the difference is. Like, other than the obvious, because there was lots of things when I was watching this one. I'm like, I haven't watched the movies enough to
really remember every scene by scene and what is different and what isn't. But there's definitely a whole middle scene that it's just cut out of the theatrical, which makes so much more sense. So I guess we'll start at the beginning here, and so the crash landing, that's a whole different scene for one.
Totally, that part, yeah.
When she crashes, and then Clemens, the doctor, is actually the one that runs out to go find her and
finds her on the beach.
On the beach. And the only bad shot is that crane shot that they use, which is like it's not a bad visual effect, but it's not one of the best that they do. But they also do a lot of really bad ones in this movie for visual effects. But we'll get there. I really liked how they brought in the aux. That's a whole different thing from the theatrical too, because originally when Ripley lands, it's a group of them, and they just go there and they find her, and there's this dog with them that's annoying the shit out of people, and they're like, "Oh, this fucking dog out of here!" And that's how they set up the dog alien, which is the theatrical cut. Which I don't like the dog alien. I don't like the pain that they put on a goddamn dog, and that was not the original intent. The original intent was the aux, which makes more sense for the alien size, its mobility. If it was a dog, it would be a lot smaller. Like, the thing that came out of the dog was bigger than the dog. And that's something that's bothered me a long time. And also the fact that it's not a chest burster. But again, we'll get back to the beginning. So Clemens runs out, and he finds her, and then he gets the team, and they bring the aux out, and then they drag I think it's the theatrical cut that they use the crane. Because they use the aux to drag the ship back, I believe, in the assembly cut. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah,
because there's a scene with all the men and the aux, and they're walking back and forth. Yeah. But so it kind of sets up that, okay, these are animals that they have there, probably for food or whatever. Like that's something that the government has, or that Weyland-Yutani has supplied for them. Which that comes up a lot later, but it's kind of cool about the prison, how it's just like a shitty prison planet.
A shitty prison planet that's mining lead?
They're burning down old everything that's left on the planet, like kind of burning it down into lead. And then turning that into sheets of metal that they sell back to the company. It's slightly explained, but not really in the movie.
It doesn't really need to be explained either,
though. No, but yeah. So they pick up Ripley. They show up, and then you learn that 2 people had died. That Hicks and Newt were dead. They get to the pod, and you learn that they're just dead. They killed off the 2 characters. Now, how did you feel about that right off the hop? Because that is a big change and a big kind of a punch to people because of how Aliens ended. Ended with them all happy, leaving the ship, going into sleep, and being like, "Oh, things will be okay."
It surprised me. I was surprised that they just tossed those characters away the way they did, but
it does work for the movie, and a lot of people originally couldn't get over that fact and just hated the movie right away. That big swing, and it definitely missed with a huge amount of audiences when it first came out. Yeah. Now, and when I was a kid and I watched it, I was like, "Oh, what?" And then when you see Hicks, he has this fucking the whole bars through his body and shit. He is just mutilated. And I have a funny sidebar story about that. The actor who played Hicks, I can't believe I forget his name. Right now, he was Michael Biehn. He was contracted, and he was like, "Oh, they were like, oh, can we use your body as a body double?" And he's like, "Well, why? Let me see the script." And they're like, "Yeah, we're killing you off pretty brutally." And he was like, "I don't fucking," and he made a pretty big fuss about it, which good for him. I mean, good for him. They killed off a legendary character. But anyways, he made this fuss about it, so he ended up getting paid just as much as he got paid for Aliens, as he did for having his picture. Just that little picture that comes up about him. It comes up in the theatrical. They didn't put it in the assembly cut, though, with his little picture, because they would have had to pay him again. Yeah.
I don't remember the little picture.
Yeah, it just comes up where it shows this little green. It's not even a picture of him. It's the animals are going crazy. That's all right. Yeah, it's just this little green and black picture that comes up, and it just says and it says him, and then they did use a body double, but they had to destroy the whole upper half. So that's why in the theatrical cut they use that body double, and it's just that's what's smashed in by the beam, and it's super gory when they go into the ship and see it in the theatrical cut. That's something I liked, but I understand why they couldn't put it in the assembly cut. But then they take her back and they go, "Oh, it's a woman." We learn as right, oh God, it's a woman, and we learn as an audience that it's a prison planet full of rapists, murderers, and just the worst kind of people.
That's the chromosomes only.
Yes, the double Y chromosomes. There's one scene that kills me when the guy goes. He goes, "I have taken a vow of celibacy, and that even includes women." Just the way he says it, it's and that's one of the characters that actually survives the whole fucking movie, Morris.
Does he get to the end?
Yeah, he's the one that pours the lead, and that's helping her. Yeah.
Morris, that guy, yeah. I actually kind of like that character. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of memorable characters in this movie. But when you got a prison planet full of criminals, you're going to have a lot of characters. So
yeah, there's
a lot of character in this.
Absolutely. Well, the character development and everything was great. They really focused on giving people a backstory, a bit at least.
Yeah, I thought it good.
Yeah, even if a lot of them were just fodder, and you never even really get a lot of their names, you get the camaraderie between everybody, and that they are this. Not only are they a prison planet, but these guys are all reformed religious types too that believe that born agains. Yeah, that believe that the end of the world is coming, and that they're just gonna wait it out there. That's kind of their whole shtick, and that again, that's not even really explained that much. But and then I think in the assembly cut, does it cut to the guy bringing in the ox?
Yeah, 2 guys.
Yeah, the 2 guys bringing in the ox.
I don't remember which two it is offhand, but
again, I'm pretty sure it's two of the lesser known that get kind of killed off earlier. Yeah, they bring in the Ox and
covered in fleas or lice
or
whatever it's supposed to be.
Yeah, they're like, oh, something got to this. We like, what the hell? And then they bring it in and hang it up, and I think they leave it there. Yeah.
It's in the butcher plant. There's like blood all over the place, and it's like it's in the slaughter room, hanging from the ceiling. I guess bleeding out. I suppose.
Yeah, and the dialogue between these, I actually liked a lot of the dialogue. A lot of it was like awful, heavy swearing, but it was actually like really like honest between a lot of these characters. I thought, and this whole.
Did I mute myself in time?
You did, but yeah, this whole scene kind of sets up the impact that Ripley is having. Just that there's a woman on this prison planet full of men, and that she's there, and it's they're already talking about like locker talk. Like what would I do with her if I got a chance?
What would you say to her, or what? There's the two guys talking there. Yeah, what did she say? What would you say to her if you had the chance? I think is what they get down the path they go.
Yeah, then it gets a little.
Then it gets a little
darker. A little blue. Yeah, it gets a little blue. But yeah, and then I really like that. Again, this is a shot that's completely cut. A whole dialogue scene that's completely cut for the theatrical, because the whole dog thing, which I fucking hate. There's no reason for them to hurt a dog. And the puppy's all like scarred up in the theatrical one. It's bad. It's sad to see. Nobody needs to hurt a dog. An ox is fine. Right?
Which beginning did you like better? The one on the beach or the one where they find them all in the ship?
I did like the beach. I like the beach.
You did? I liked the theatrical version where they found them all together in the ship more, but not with the dog. I enjoyed the ox part better. Then it just seemed a little off to me that she was laying on the beach.
Well, that was the weird part, that her pod was completely out when they even did a shot that, and also that they there's a whole thing that comes up, and I'll explain it to you why there's two aliens, like why there's two different impregnations, why there's the one that's guarding Ripley and why there's the Queen one. Because they don't explain that in this movie, but it was originally meant to be explained, and in neither version of the movie did they explain it. And I guess I'll just get it over with now, actually. What it is it's supposed to be a queen facehugger. So it's a different version of a facehugger that can lay two eggs. And it lays one as the queen host and then one as like a warrior drone to take care of the queen host.
The guardian.
Yeah, and it's the only one of its type to do that, and that's another reason that it makes it a queen. And there's a shot when they're in there, and he finds the thing in the background. He's like, "What the fuck is this?" He pulls it up, and it's like a lot bigger looking of a face hugger, and that is a shot of the queen face hugger, but it's never explained. And there was planned.
Now that you mention it, it definitely was bigger. Yeah, he picks that thing up, and it's like this.
Yeah, it's actually like an animal. No, not like insectoid as much. It's more like this is like a big thing.
I didn't catch it when I was watching it, but yeah, it was larger.
Yeah, no, that was a big, and that's something that never gets explained, and people get confused. Like, why they only show one egg on the ship, and also how the fuck did how the fuck did the Queen get a chance to put an egg on that ship? Like, there's a lot of questions in the story on that aspect. Like, when did the Queen have time to just like, she disconnected from her egg sac? Did she just like shit one out and slap it on the bottom of the fucking ship, or like in the middle, just before she starts fighting them all? Because you see when she emerges. So I don't know. There's a little bit of a continuity thing, but originally it was supposed to be that this Queen facehugger itself got onto the ship, and it held itself and waited because they could survive for a while longer. And so it waited until they all went to sleep, and then it went and attacked them. That was like one of the original ideas, and to me it makes more sense. But they kind of just like skip over that whole like, this is just what happened. There was an alien on the ship. That's it. Okay, I'll suspend my disbelief. But yeah, I'm with you there. I do like them finding everything together, but instead of having Ripley on the beach, and I've always wanted somebody to do like a real fan cut, but like to to mix the assembly cut and the theatrical and get the best scenes out of both, because there's some good scenes in both of them actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't hate either movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it might not have been my favorite, and I don't know if I'd rush
No.
out to watch them again in a hurry. But
that's the thing.
I didn't despise them by any means.
No. And when it came out, it was absolutely hated. That was probably
like a box office flop.
It made its money back easily, but only because of the first 2 to 3 weekends. You know what I mean? Like, just because it had that alien name to it, and they didn't really release too much about it out before the movie came out.
What year did this one come out?
1992.
Okay, so the internet was just starting to kick.
Yeah, so people had to go and see it to realize what it was.
You'd be watching Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty much, yeah. It was before the internet, almost.
Yeah.
So it's easier to sell tickets.
Yeah, back then. So they made their money back, but it was definitely not well received. So, yeah. So she gets there. And what do you think about the character Clemens, the doctor?
Oh, he was okay.
I thought he was good. I thought he was better in this version, in the assembly cut. They give him just a little bit more personality in just a couple of scenes. Like they just use different takes.
Oh, yeah.
Like when Ripley is like, "You find me attractive?" And he's like, "In what way?" And she's like, "In that way." And he just like kind of like his whole lip quivers. He's like, "I've been alone for a very long time." Like that is like in the other one they just kind of cut. And it's like, okay, and then the next scene you see, they wake up together. Like, it's not as funny and, like, charismatic. Like, I just thought it's, like, his lip quivering. He's like, "I've been alone for a very long time," shaking as he's drinking the cup.
I thought he was a good character.
Yeah. I don't think he deserved the death that he got, but...
I thought they killed him off a little early, maybe. But
yeah. But that also kind of reflects this whole story. Because this movie is really... the end of Ripley, like the destruction of Ripley. Like, she realizes that she cannot have anything good in her life. She can't have.
That's right.
Like she had one kid who died while she was in cryo sleep. That's fucked up. And then she finds a surrogate kid and like maybe a new husband type person in her life in the second movie. And they die horrific fucking deaths in this movie. So they break and she's lived like 200 years, but has only really been awake for like maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks, and from the beginning of the first movie to now.
Is that the time span in there? About 200 years?
Yeah, roughly. Because the first time, I guess this movie, it's only like a couple, like a week or like a couple, maybe even like a couple hours after they go into sleep. I always thought it was a bit longer, and somehow it took longer for the alien to gestate. But I don't think it's actually. I think it's maybe like a couple weeks from this movie to the other one. But from the first movie to the second one, it's like 50-something years.
Yeah, 56 years or something.
Yeah, and then they go back into hypersleep. But to me, I think that she's been around. Like, I guess for the last like 50 years of her life, she spent 4 weeks fighting this fucking alien. Like, every time she wakes up, she gets a little bit of her life back. She gets pulled back in, and then aliens, they don't really specify how long she's been on that space station where she's working on the loading docks or whatever. But to me, I think that's only like a week or two. Like, I think it's not that long, because she's just kind of getting back. She's like, "I like my life." She obviously doesn't. But then this movie, they again try to give her some kind of sympathetic or like an emotional attachment character, and I was like, "Oh, you're dead." As soon as I saw that later on, like when I rewatched it a couple times, I was like, "Oh, this guy is obviously dead." Like, he's something for her to be like, "Okay, maybe I can make something good out of all this shit," and then that doesn't go well either. And then later on, she learns even more horrific shit about herself. So this is another scene that we're going to go back a little bit that I want to ask your question about. Ask your opinion about.
Ready.
What do you think of the autopsy scene, and do you think that it was necessary? Because they already killed a little girl. They already killed her. They already drowned her in her thing. Do you think they needed to cut open her fucking chest?
Can you cut open it? Well, yeah, the extra blood and the blood all over the doctor's chest. That was one of the things I noticed. Even after the first cut, it's like and then they showed the next picture, and he's got blood all over his chest.
All over, right?
Like it made me kind of laugh. But that's a good question. You know, the movie probably could have
done without it.
Skipped that entire.
Well, because later on. Ripley herself.
She saw the marks on her fucking.
Yeah, on the
pod. So.
Yeah, but later on, Ripley goes into the pod and just gets an X-ray of herself. Why didn't she do that with the dead girl instead of cutting her open and making they go to the EVV, like the crash ship that lands?
Yeah, that's right.
And that's how she finds out that it's an alien inside of her. And she gets maybe that's cut in the assembly.
No, it's in there. Maybe it doesn't work on dead people.
Maybe, but it was pretty much a CAT scan, like X-ray. It would probably show that if something was living inside, it would probably show that.
You would think, if
it was living, you would think, like if there was still the alien inside, like you would think. So I myself think that I understand the shock value of killing off the characters, okay? And they are in the theatrical, they really show that fucking Hicks gets demolished. Like his whole fucking upper half is gone. But yet somehow when they throw his body into the thing, they have a full body cast that's wrapped in things. And I'm like, you did not get his full fucking body out of that. There is no fucking way.
They did too, yeah.
And that's just another little thing that I found kind of funny, like darkly funny.
Fully wrapped mummy. It's like they're disposing of somebody else's body.
Yeah, clearly, there's no way, right? There's no way it was him, because he was just fucking ruined. They do the shock value thing. Cool, you killed them, but then you bring up the fact to desecrate the corpse of the girl. Of the little girl, Newt, that everybody loved. She was so good. She was such a good character and such a memorable thing to this franchise. That was the other thing. She brought so much heart and warmth to this goddamn. Then they cut open the little girl. So I opened, right? I don't think that it was necessary. I kind of get what they were going for, the double hit of the shock factor, but no.
Inside the chest.
Right? Yeah, right? And there's just blood everywhere. And again, I think this movie is the goriest Alien movie. The way that the kills are done, there's more blood splatter and brain matter that comes out. I mean, of the original three. Sorry, but before Romulus or before any of the other ones, it's just about Alien, Aliens, and Alien 3. I'm pretty sure this is the goriest. Because, a lot of the head, they actually show the whole fucking hole getting punched into dudes' heads and brain matter coming out of it. Mm-hmm. There's a scene coming up, pretty soon in the movie, halfway into it, that's pretty brutal, but it starts off brutal, and then it ends off pretty good with one of my favorite lines. But, so anyways, we learn that, as viewers, we learn that there's an alien thing, and it's gotten this ox, and then the warden comes down and gets pissed off because they're doing this autopsy, and he's like, and they were like, we have to burn the bodies. So they work out that they can use the furnace, and I really like this scene in both movies, even with the dog, but the way that they interject the birth of the alien, the creature itself coming out of its host, with them throwing Hicks and Newt into the furnace, their bodies. Mm-hmm. I like how it cuts in between, the birthing scene and the speeches. Yeah, I like again how the warden does a pretty basic, a basic little speech. But then Dylan comes out, the leader of these fanatics, mm-hmm. who's made himself very known already in the movie, just that he's the leader, and us watching, you could tell that yes, he's the one that kind of spearheaded all this spiritual stuff, but he's not a good man, and he tells you many times throughout this movie.
Great character.
Yeah, he's probably my favorite character other than Ripley, because I love her arc, because she is so sick of this fucking thing. And she even has a line in the movie, like where she goes like, "This, you're all I've known for so much of my life, and now I just want you to do one thing, just kill me." And then it cuts, and then and then she comes back and she goes, "It won't kill me." You're like, "Oh fuck."
That part of that confused me a little bit because she's like, "It ran away from me," but wouldn't you think that thing would want to protect the queen? Like, even if it came down to like, taking it
just following her,
or like keeping it, where it.
But I guess it also wants to build up a food supply. I guess is why it's continuously killing everything that it's around, that she's around.
Its instincts the queen. Its instincts are to only not kill it and not.
Well, like protect it in a sense, because later on in the movie, when Dylan grabs her, it gets mad because he's dragging her away, which makes you think that it's protecting the scene. But again, there's the other scene that I want to talk about where it should have been protecting her. If that was its thing, it should have jumped down and fucked all those fucking skinheads up when they were trying to do the R word to her, which is a dark scene. That is all. It's a dark scene, but I do like the ending, and I do like Dylan coming into that. But we'll go back a bit before we actually get into that scene, because that's another memorable one. I kind of want to skip through what I remember as good memorable scenes and then talk over it all, because it's already 40 minutes. So obviously I like talking about this movie, even if I don't like it. So they do the scene where it's born from the ox, and like in the assembly cut, which I like a lot more. I think that even the birthing scene is better, and this is the only
definitely better.
Yeah, and this is the only thing that they added to this movie for the assembly cut, like that wasn't in it, but it was planned to be in it, but it just never got shot right. And that was the actual it's the only CGI where the alien comes out of the ox, and it kind of burns and pulls itself and then runs away, which isn't in the theatrical cut. They kind of just cut to like almost a fully birthed alien, which looks good, and then they do the POV shot where it's kind of like running away.
Yeah, I didn't think that scene was in the theatrical one. With it scurrying away.
With it actually running away.
Scampering away.
Yeah, and the funny thing is when they originally tried to film that shot, because this movie came out like 1 year before CGI broke the world with Jurassic Park in '93. So if this movie would have waited a little bit, everything would have looked so much better. But they put that stupid fucking has to come out in '92, and they wouldn't budge on that. So I'll get into why the special effects are not that special in this movie, and they did their best for like all the shots of the alien in a suit, and like where you can tell it's actually like practical and going in for the kill and all those quick shots. I think those look great, but it's when you see it running around that it gets bad. Like when it's crawling on the walls, and we'll get to that why it looks so bad in a bit here. But
some of them looked okay, but some of them didn't.
Looked really. They do not hold up.
They weren't spectacular.
They're bad.
No.
Yeah. They're straight up bad. Like I can't defend them, but I understand that if they would have waited a year, it would have been so much better. But again, that's the studio fucking with this movie, which could have been good. It could have been good if they just let it be what it was supposed to be originally. But anyways, so the next scene. First we find out the birthing scene. The birth happens. It runs out, and then you get a little bit of quiet, and you get to learn a little bit more about the characters. I think this is where Ripley kind of gets told about what the planet's about and the station is there for. And there's a bit more character contact there. And then Ripley and Clement sleep together. Do you find me attractive? And again, what I really like about this movie that I just kind of put together is they've never overly sexualized anything about the Sure, in the first Alien, she's in granny panties, wandering around and with no bra, but a shirt on. Sure, but it was never sexualized,
Not to have the chick with the machine gun a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
But not basically not sexualized.
And no nudity, nothing like that. And this has been a movie that's been very woman, female led. the whole series. And so that's something I find, like, you know, most slasher horror sci-fi things, they go into the stupid, like, you know, just like the other, like even the little bit of boobs and stuff in Alien Covenant and Alien and Prometheus. Like just those little bit of shots, it's like it's not really, like the shower scenes aren't really necessary, you know. But
they need it for the trailer.
Exactly. Well, and this movie actually had one of the best shots that they used ever. One of my favorite shots ever, and that's with the alien right up against Ripley's face, and her just them staring off at each other, pretty much. Because and they use that as a promotion still. And everyone's like, oh my God, why is her head shaved? Why is it just staring? What the hell? But they never released any details. Again, before the internet was really out there. So the majority of people didn't know any of this stuff. And this is before really, like, you know, going on to movie sets and trying to figure out plot details and taking pictures and like all that kind of stuff that happens now. This is like, so there's a closed set. So they only released a few things, but one of the few things they used as promotion was the scene with the alien staring at her. And I thought that's a shot.
Mm-hmm. Great,
definitely of her character.
Great effect.
Yeah, the alien looks great in that moment too, and in that moment, yeah, but not as it walks up to her to do that moment in the movie. Mm-hmm. Like there's I don't know what it is about the color grading or but the alien just comes off green. Or like it doesn't look like it's supposed to be in the areas that it is. Whenever it's like quickly moving or something, or you try to see the full body of it, because it's supposed to be smaller than a like it's supposed to be. So they couldn't put a human into that, or like into a suit to do that. They couldn't find a way to do that. Back to that bursting scene. Sorry. When they originally tried to film it, they put a little dog, like kind of like your dog, or like my little Shih Tzu, in an alien suit, and had it running down. It actually acted like scared and scary and like puffed up before they brought it onto set. But when they brought it onto set, there was like they actually had like live ox still on the set at that time, and they were freaking out the dog, so it was super timid and just looked so cute. Running down this hallway, just like, ah! And like every shot, they're like, oh, yeah, no, we can't use this. We can't. So that's why they cut the whole like it coming out, birthing, and scampering away. But because they had a plan that a dog, we can use a dog for it, and it just didn't work. And there's I'll send you some of those behind the scenes. There's some really cool ones for that. We actually see the dog like running down. It's super cute. Yeah. So yeah, back to the movie. They find out. Oh yeah, okay. So there's a bit of like talking around. Ripley finds out more about Clemens and more about the planet, and then it cuts to the scene where the guy's working in the big fan area, which I think is
shoveling. He's scraping down the edge of the walls with a shovel.
Yeah, and great scene of just a guy working, doing his job,
singing about a song in 75-20 or something. 75,
yeah, right.
20,
and he's just screaming away, just having a good old time. And this is where it gets a little tricky with the editing that they did, because this is the guy that owns the dog. So, like, this is the character that in the theatrical owns the dog, and you see that this is his owner. And then in the assembly cut, he still refers to the dog. Is that you, Spike? Mm-hmm. And you've never seen the dog in this.
We don't even know what Spike is.
Yeah, we don't know that it's a dog or anything. So he goes, "Oh, is that you, Spike?" And then goes into that. So that is a weird. They must have not had a proper shot where he just gets attacked, and for some reason they left that one in where he says that. I thought they could have just cut the audio of him saying that in the assembly cut instead, because
even just snuck in one second clip of the dog earlier
of the dog,
even if like just
to establish that one guy has a dog. That's it. Yeah, because it's a weird little thing that caught me that I was like, it doesn't really make sense in this version of the movie.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Exactly.
Yeah, and. Yeah, and then he goes and he investigates, and then the aliens. And this is a hard one to tell what actually happens here, because they don't show it much in the movie, but it spits acid in the guy's face, and that's why he falls back and falls into the fan.
Is that what happened?
It's because Yeah, and it's like a young react. It's something that they can only do in a very young version of themselves, where they can spit acid, but it's a defense so they can keep growing.
It hisses at them.
Yeah, it hisses and it just kind of shoots this acid spray. But you don't really see that at all in the shots in either version.
I just
thought like
the tongue thing fucking bopped him or something.
Right, like something fun. But it's a really quick, weird shot too. Like they obviously wanted to kind of just get that shot over with in both versions, and then the guy just falls, and then he gets eviscerated by that fucking, like, there are buckets of blood being thrown around when he hit that fan.
Yeah, there's the gore. There's a lot of gore there. That's for sure.
Yeah, right. And then when they come back to it later, because it cuts to that, then it cuts back to Ripley and Clemens have slipped together, and Clemens gets a call that, hey, we have an accident. Is it serious? You can fucking call it that. Like, you can tell the guy on the other side is just freaking out. So he goes down, and then it cuts to him going down there, and then Ripley. It kind of cuts between two stories. Him going down there, and then seeing the acid, and all the viscera of the guy getting fucking chopped up, and everyone's like, and he goes, "Oh, it's this guy." And everyone's, how can you tell it? He goes, well, that's his boot.
That's his boot, yeah.
Like, and there's just fucking blood and gore around there.
The only thing left is one boot stuck in a fan.
Yeah, that's pretty much stopped the fan. Like his boot's kind of like there. That's the reason that it's kind of like jammed, it looks like, almost. And then it cuts to Ripley going and looking to get the blood, like what we would consider like the black box of a ship. You know, like the... Whenever a plane goes down, they have their little black box recorder that kind of tells what happened, and that's yeah, and that's what she goes, and there's no technology there, and then Clemens comes back and he meets with her, and then he tells her that we don't have the technology. We are literally living like barbarically here. Like we have nothing, and I need to be able to. And she goes, oh, where's Bishop? He's like, oh, he's in a pile. Bishop is he's in the trash heap. He's in a trash pile. And then he goes, well, I'll point you in the right way for you to find him, but I got to go and meet with the warden who's going to go tear my ass out about everything because he doesn't like he's just mad. The warden is just a mad this whole time. But I don't mind the warden character because he's kind of a dick, like, but he's living on a planet with a bunch of fucking like terrible convicts, you know,
he wants everybody to just stay fucking calm.
Yeah. Just to keep doing what we've been doing.
That's right.
Like, you know, like stay calm. And he keeps bringing up like, well, you got a pair of you got like a pretty woman here, and everything's fucked. Everything's gone. And I just like just a lot of the banter between actually in the scene where it's Clemens and the warden talking together. There's a lot of good like back and forth there. And where the warden threatens Clemens to tell Ripley about his bad past, which he ends up telling her about. And he's just like, oh, if she, you know, if what would you think about your new friend finding out about your sordid past? Now come sit the fuck down. You can tell that he's definitely a company man still, but he's trying his best for a lot of the movie. So he kind of gives the warden gives Clemens a bit of a slap, like a verbal talk too, like just. Fucking keep her in the infirmary. Keep her away from the men. Because she had gotten out earlier, actually, and went into the mess hall. And that was another scene I really liked with Dylan. Because they get into the mess hall, and then she goes and stands and goes, thank you for your speech. My friends would have enjoyed that. And he goes, I am a rapist and murderer of women. She's just like, well, I must make you uncomfortable. And then plants her ass down and sits at that fucking table. Because literally the last thing she remembers before this whole incident is punching an alien queen in a fucking robot. You know, like she had a fucking mech and she was punching an alien queen. So a bunch of these assholes don't really scare her. I mean, they should, and that comes out later. Like she should be a little bit more careful. But I also understand where she comes from in this movie. That fuck this. Like I have dealt with nothing but shit. For fucking like this last while of my life. Fuck this, you guys don't scare me. Which goes into that scene's earlier, but then we get into after Clemens gets his ass torn out by the warden. Ripley is going to go search for Bishop because she realizes Bishop, the android. I can probably use him to tell me what happened off his black box, and because he is technologically, you know, like he's advanced enough, and if she can charge them up, that it'll do good.
Plug them in.
And then Ripley goes, yeah, plug them in. And I really like the scene with, so she goes to plug him in, and she goes and finds him, and then she wraps him up, and then what do you know? 3 of these fucking convicts are blocking one of the entranceway, just staring at her. And then she goes to go out of another entranceway, and, well, they try to GR her. And I'm not going to say the other parts of those words, but they try. And then our other kind of, and this is a weird scene in the movie too, because some hardcore heavy metal music comes in. Like the rest of the score has like a lot of like ominous sound, but this is just like a hardcore fucking heavy metal tune that comes in during this whole scene. But yeah, just before, and just before any actual heinous activity can happen, luckily, our fucking kind of other hero in this movie, Dylan, comes in and just beats the shit out of his own covenant. Like he knocks the one guy out right away, who was just about to get to her, and then he goes, "You're okay?" And she goes, and then he goes, "You should probably," and then he beats on them a bunch. And then this is one of my favorite scenes of like small gore that just makes it even worse, because he throws one guy down, and then he lays like 4 hits with this pipe in his hand. And then when he comes back up and tells Ripley that she should leave, if you look on the end of that pipe, there's fucking brain and like skull that's just like attached to the pipe that he was just beating this guy down with.
I didn't notice that.
So he wasn't. Yeah, and I love his line there too. He's like, I gotta reassess the brothers, re-educate the brothers. It's re-educate the brothers on their faith. And then like one of them's walking away, and he just cranks her with the pipe again. And then Ripley gets her one good shot in, which fucking writes. He's like, "You should leave," and she just looks at the one. Like, "Oh no, fuck you!" And just lays a beating on him. Right? Just one solid and just drops. Like the guy. It's funny. Do you see the scene? There's the other guy. One of the guys. He has his hands up. And he's like praying, like, "Oh, don't hit me, don't hurt me." Like one of them, and then like that's behind the guy that's crawling. He's like, "Oh no!" Like, he knows that Dylan's just gonna beat all their asses. And I like, in like every scene from this point, there's like 4 or 5. There's about 4 of them that are all bandaged up and all bruised the fuck out of. Like they all have like black eyes, and one of them has savage bandages, and I'm pretty sure that's the one who had brain matter. that Dylan like cracked his head open. Because it's only after that scene that like 2 or 3 of the guys have bandages and are all beaten up. But it's a good production value that I thought that like after that, yeah, they were all. He laid the right kind of beating on those boys. He really did drop the education. Yeah, Dylan's beat. And again, that's right. Again, another reason I love Dylan in this movie. That's another one where you go, well, he's not that bad of a guy. He can't be that bad of a person, even though he claims it the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
And like the whole time, he's like, "I am not worth anything. I'm just shit." But he's like the best part of this movie. And so after that, we cut to this is where we get the Golic scene. There's a couple scenes where they're talking about, "I hate Golic." Like a couple of the prisoners are like, "He stinks. I don't want to go out with him."
That's right. Yeah.
Like the guy stinks. Like he's awful. I hate him.
He's crazy.
Yeah, and he's fucking crazy. And like they're talking, and that's only. This is where. The huge section of the middle of this movie just gets taken out from the theatrical. Is everything with Golic. And I think it's actually integral to the movie.
Excuse me, sorry.
No worries, you caught it again. Nope. Don't worry, I'll get back myself.
Holy crap. Pause. Stay tuned for this important commercial break from our sponsors.
And I'm back.
Today's sponsor is toothpaste for your dog. This toothpaste for your dog. Today's sponsor is dog toothpaste and dog toothbrushes. Are we back? Really? We're back? Okay, we're back. I see you're back. We're back. I can't hear you.
Did I do that?
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay, good. I must have muted myself there for a second. But yeah, so the theatrical cut, like this whole scene, this whole section, which I think actually damages the movie a bit, like the theatrical version at least. Because
it added to the movie.
Absolutely. And I like that they actually trap the fucking thing. Like their first plan works in the assembly version. They trap it. They have the fucking thing trapped.
Yeah, the one guy runs in there. It follows it. Guy
his
sacrifices himself. Yeah,
and that's something we haven't seen on any of those, any of the movies, is them actually successfully trapping the things. Like they try it. They've tried it in every movie, but this time they actually and when I watched that movie, the assembly cut, I go, oh yeah, like how is it gonna get out? They fucking trapped it. You know, like the plan worked. And then they just really messily, in the theatrical version, mix up the whole fire scene and the whole explosion and all that. But I don't know, they cut it really weird that it's like they never trap the thing and it stays loose. But and then they cut in like some of the dead bodies that they're finding after everything didn't work in the theatrical cut, and some of the bodies don't look burned at all. And it's literally the bodies that Gallic had killed, the one or two guys that he killed before he lets the alien out.
Yeah.
And they find out like, oh, there's another one, and that's but he's clearly like his throat slashed. He's clearly not burned or anything. Like if you actually look at it, I overanalyze these movies like crazy. So most people don't notice this kind of shit. But if you look, it's like obviously that's not what happened. So in the assembly cut, Gallic goes down there with those guys, and two guys get killed around him, and he starts screaming about a dragon. Mm-hmm. You know, and it leaves him. It for some reason it's like I have my two bodies. I don't have to kill this guy. So he runs off. They all catch him covered in blood, and everybody thinks, oh, Gallic just killed these guys. So, like the whole prisoner and all that. But he's spouting off like, no, it's the dragon. It's the end of times. It's the end of times, right? But it shows his craziness comes out too a lot. It's like, and they kind of focus more on his character a bit. And then, then he ends up killing one of the guys that's looking after him in the sanitarium area or where they're holding him. He kills him and then goes down because he's infatuated with this fucking thing. Mm-hmm. Like he believes it's his it's the reckoning, the second coming kind of thing.
Gotta see it again.
Yeah, like I have to. Mm-hmm. And he opens it, and I kind of love how it gives him like a smile before it kills him. But like if you really look at like how the alien reacts before, it's just like it murders him and then runs away, and then you see it scampering down the hall again, which is another bad visual effect because it just looks green for some fucking reason. Scampers.
It's scampers, all right. Scampering alien.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, Gallic gets murdered, but that whole scene that they've won. They had it down, and that's what made the company really want to come. Mm-hmm. Was they have one of them trapped too.
6 feet wall, thick steel, fucking nuclear waste holding tank.
Yeah, nothing's ever getting out of that thing unless fucking somebody lets it out.
That thing doesn't have enough acid to burn through 6 feet of steel.
No, and it doesn't have any of its other kind to kill, so it can use its blood acid, which becomes a thing in the next movie we're gonna watch, Resurrection. Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's a little foreshadowing that they have the idea to kill one for acid to burn through something. But again, that was never a plan in this movie. I don't know if they actually knew a plan about this movie, but that's because, and you can tell a lot of things were rushed. Like so that whole scene happens. Gallic lets it out, and then Ripley's there. I might be cutting back and forth throughout different portions of it, but these are just how it's coming out. Because the Clemens death is what kind of signifies that everybody knows that. Well, it's not Clemens; it's the Warden's death. But Ripley's there in the scene with Clemens, and he tells her all about his bad past. And like, oh, you trust me with a needle now? Like that he was a bad morphine addict that gave people bad doses of shit and killed like 11 people. And he makes that joke, and then she's like, yeah. And then she gets drugged up, and then the alien comes in and just like grabs his head. Through the shower curtain. Yeah. And just starts throwing him around too. It's a pretty savage way and then it zooms in on the head fucking dive through it. It's like through the plastic, but you still see chunks of his head all fucking out. Like it's not a nice death, and he just drops the body. So Ripley, it's fucking back, and then this is where the alien comes up to her, smells her, and then leaves, and then takes Clemens' body and leaves up the shaft. And she's like, "What the what the fuck? So she ends up running down to the hall, and this is where the warden is trying to keep everybody calm and be like, and Ripley has told them about this alien.
It's here.
Yeah, Ripley is.
It's here.
So she runs in and she goes, "It's here." And he goes, "Could you stop with this nonsense?" Like he's yelling at her that it's fucking, "Would you stop? I'm trying to keep these people calm." And as he's yelling, the fucking thing comes down and grabs him and rips him up, and then again, blood just pours down.
Blood everywhere, yeah.
It just pours down. And my favorite line delivery ever. Like you hear all the guys go, "What the fuck is that? What the fuck?" And then it pulls them up, and then all the blood falls, and then Morse, my favorite character, is just standing there with like a fucking pan or something, and he just goes, "Fuck!" And he just yells, "Fuck!" It's such a everybody's standing like all like, "What just happened?" And he just does what any real person would do, and he just goes, "Fuck!" Like I thought that was like the most, and it catches me off guard every time I see him do that scene.
It's a pretty funny scene. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was good.
Right, and it's a great line delivery. Like just the way he does it, it's like, yeah, I would probably say the same fucking thing. A lot of the things.
Everybody stands.
Yeah, stare like in awe. Like, fuck, and it's so funny because it's just like I don't know, and it adds to it. And even when it cuts, and this is a scene that they add a little bit more gore to and stuff. When it cuts to the one guy cleaning it up, and he's just like staring up the hole while he's cleaning up the blood, just like so scared. Yeah, because they show him mopping up the blood, and he's just like, he like looks up the hole, like, "What the fuck am I have to do this?"
Oh yeah, I remember that part.
Yeah. And in the theatrical, he just kind of like he's just mopping, but they make it a little bit more comedic in the assembly cut where he just where it cuts to him like looking up the hole. So I that's another thing. They add like weird bits of comedy to it that actually work for me. Like that make you kind of like these characters more. And like in the beginning of it, they were all getting like damn near chastised and beat down for swearing at all. But after all this shit goes down, that goes out the window. Every one of them just goes like they just start swearing. Like once shit goes down, they're like, "Oh fuck this and fuck that and what the fuck." Yeah, so they pull that, they pull the warden, and then you get this weird kind of thing like, "Oh god, the warden's dead. Like, what are we gonna do? Who's in charge now? What the fuck?" And then the 85 comes in. Yeah, and this is where I feel like this got added into the script as they were writing it, because he was never like shown as a stupid character up until this point. He's a yes man, sure, but like nobody, like there's no hint that they all have this nickname for this one guy and blah. Like there's no real hint to that until at this point when he's like, "Oh, I have to take charge." Like, "Oh, shut up, 85," and they keep calling him 85 over and over again. Nobody takes him seriously because it turns out that's his IQ.
COD.
Absolutely, that's that's just the low IQ fuckers. I used to use that a lot in my high school days.
A little bit in the movie when the warden is saying something, he'll repeat it. So it maybe kind of gave a little bit of a clue that he might have been a little bit different.
Well, like not all there, and like not smart enough to run his own. To do all of this, he was just the second hand. Mr. Aaron is what they call it, what his actual name was or whatever. But yeah. So he gets in charge, and then the whole explosion thing happens, and I'm not sure how they cut that in. I think that is after. Yeah, that's after they let it all out in the assembly. I'm just I'm putting it back together. I'm trying to cut both movies back in my head, But then they have that explosion that kills like.
They spread all the goop around.
Yeah, the goop around.
The goop.
Yeah,
And the one climbing up the ladder and gets
and then gets his head punched.
Yeah, ends up dropping the flare or whatever it is, and then.
Yeah, and the 85 comes running out. Wait for the signal! Because that's when he shows like, "This is my signal. Do you got that?" Okay, they show a little scene where he sets that up, that he has a signal. But I just love that he thinks that they're all just starting the plan. Well, they're all clearly still there. Like they're all clearly still down this hallway setting up this goop, and like this shit just fell. Just wait for the signal.
Kind of funny.
Right, and again, this is things I find funny after like rewatching this movie 100 times and catching like some of the little banter between them all and stuff too.
Yeah, the more you watch,
yeah,
the more of those
and then
little things you catch.
Yeah, absolutely. And Morse too. The whole time, his character is like, "Well, fuck her. What does she fucking know? What the fuck? What are we really doing here? We have no goddamn weapons. What the fuck?" Like he's just bitching about everything the whole time. But when it comes down to their final plan to catch this thing, he is the most useful one, other than Dylan and Ripley, out of all those fucking convicts. Because when they first start, like, okay, we gotta lock it, we gotta take it to the lead facility, and we're just gonna fucking kill this thing. Even though the company's coming, they're gonna keep it. Ripley explains to them all that they don't care about you, and she says something in her little speech there that kind of like it really defines how this movie is so different, because in the first movie it was crew expendable, she says. Like when he first saw it was crew expendable, and they were just space truckers, regular people, like how I've always said it. And then she goes, and then the second time they sent in the Marines, and they were expendable too. Again, a group of people that you're kind of rooting for, you know, like these guys are the ultimate badasses. You want them to win. And in this movie, she goes, "You're all a bunch of fucking prisoner low-life rapists. What the fuck do you think they're gonna?" And that's kind of a problem with this movie. There's nobody that you really want to root for because they're not good people. Like but the fact that she says it kind of like saves that whole thing for me. And she's like, "What do you think they're gonna care for? You're a bunch of fucking prisoners. They will kill you for seeing this thing. So do you want to at least kill this fucking thing and give some kind of like, you know, like a final standoff?" And even Morse goes, "Yeah, it killed my fucking mates too." Like I love that he gets into it after her speech too. And so yeah, then they have the lockdown where and this is where one of my least favorite and favorite parts of the movie with the effects go, because I love the point of view shots of the alien running up and down, like where it's just the camera of like what the alien might be seeing, running up and down, running up and down on the ceiling but then they cut to showing the fucking rod puppet, which okay, I'll get into the effects here because this is where it really comes out bad. So what they did was they filmed like a rod puppet against a blue screen, which is different for photochemically doing what they did before green screening. And they made this cool rod puppet that they can move fast, and they filmed it and then photochemically like added it. This is before CGI, so they actually had to like add it to the film. And movies were doing this kind of stuff for a long time, but this was like the biggest attempt to do something, and it didn't work. If they would have waited a year, they could have done CGI and done it just that little bit cleaner. It wouldn't have had to get like physically added to the film, and that's why it doesn't. The coloring's wrong, and they couldn't change it after. So it was just an attempt to do something really cool, but they should have just waited, because even if they did the rod puppet with CGI a year later, it would have blended so much better. But they just didn't have that technology out or available, or it wasn't a big thing yet. So they went with this, and it looks awful. But and they knew it, and that's why they added the whole point of view thing, where you see the alien like running and scurrying. That's why they added that, because they knew that, and that's why they cut in a lot of scenes where it was the actual puppet of the alien, and you could actually see like where it wasn't the rod puppet, where it was attacking and doing its kills. That you could see was practical. They cut a lot more of that in after they realized that the rod puppet was not a good idea, but they couldn't go back. Yeah, and so it cuts to some of the worst scenes, like where the one guy comes into he finds it and he has the flare and he goes, "Oh, you bastard!" and throws the flare at it, and it lights it up, but it just looks awful. Like there's like 4 different kind of like color schemes going on at once, and it just doesn't do the alien any good. And the alien has been like a fucking marvel of sci-fi and creature effects for years, from Alien to Aliens. From 79 to 86, that was the thing you wanted to see, like what was it going to do next. Like they made it the Queen Alien, and that thing was fucking massive. And you know what I mean? And like a full animatronic thing. And so and I was personally when I watched this, because I watched this like pretty soon after I watched Aliens as a kid. This one was the newest one that was out. My dad was like, "If you want to watch it, fine." Like he knew there were spots I would have to, and he didn't like it either.
Oh yeah.
But over the years, I've grown to like it. But the effects were another thing that like I even as a small kid went, "That doesn't look good." Like I was just like, "Oh." You know, and they've touched it up a bit on each. So I was watching it on a rented VHS too, back in the day when I first saw it.
Yeah, that would
right.
Be kind, rewind.
Yes, the classic days, Lord. Yeah. So but yeah, again, we go down and Morse. Once things start actually happening, once they get it back out, one of the guys, I think it's Morse that it first chases, and he closes all the doors behind him. He's like right into it all. He's calling it out, but the rest of the fuckers don't really know what they're doing, and they're scared to shit. So everything gets fucked up in this scene, and like Morse runs into the other one, into one of them.
They hit, yeah.
And they hit each other and like, holy shit! And they have this little laughing scene, and then the alien comes and fucks that guy up. So that's not Morse. And that's when then Ripley chases it kind of into a corner in that scene, and it kind of keeps hiding back in the corner, and then and she's trying to get it out, and you can keep seeing Morse. He's still laying on the ground. If you like look into the back shots of that, he's on the ground still at the side, like, what the fuck is happening? And she's like, go, and he's still kind of like laying there for a while after she says, go on, get, pretty much. And then she's trying to get this thing out, and it won't come out because it won't attack her, and it knows something's going on. Because this is also what makes more sense in this movie, in the assembly cut, is that it knows they're trying to trap it because it had been trapped before. Like, it makes more sense as to why it's hiding. And it's like, no, I'm not coming out. I know I'm supposed to protect. No, I'm not coming out. Fuck you. I know you're doing this shit again. Like, it has that intelligence to figure out that the humans are fucking with it. But in the theatrical cut, it doesn't really make sense why it would react like that. So, like, why it would hide so much. And that's something that just from rewatching, I went, oh, yeah, no, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. And then a bunch of them die, very savage deaths. Like a bunch of the convicts die, and they finally lead the alien into the lead plant,
the lead hole.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it is, and that's a great way to describe it, because that's what it is. Yeah, so they bring it into the holding tank there, and Morse closes it, and he's like, I'm gonna go get the lead. So he goes up to go get all the lead started, and Ripley and Dylan are still there in the bottom with the alien, and Ripley goes, I'm gonna die with it. No, let me die with it. And he goes, no, we had a deal. It dies first, and then you. And then they start going up, and then Dylan realizes that it's gonna crawl out. If he tries to crawl out, it's gonna follow him. So he does the big sacrifice of the movie, which I think is a pretty good fucking scene too.
It was, yeah.
Like it makes. This is where he goes, okay, this is where I'm making my amends. Like as all his religious thing goes, and he just jumped down and he goes, fuck you. Like just like yells at it, like, fuck you, come here.
It's not as hard as you right.
Yeah, like literally it comes and he's like, is that all you fucking got?
Yeah.
Like, and you can tell he's like fighting the thing back for like 5 minutes. It feels like 5 minutes. It's probably like 45 seconds of screen time.
I thought you'd bite
but
harder.
like he's literally yelling like the best taunts out to this thing. Like, fuck you, I got you.
Going down like
and then he's yelling to Ripley. He's like, just start the goddamn lead. Kill me. Like you can also tell that he just wants to die at that point. Like it does take a little too long for them to get to the lead. Like, you know that Dylan was sitting there fighting for a while because he's screaming like right till the end, pretty much right till they drop that lead. So he put up a fucking fight with that thing, and then they drop the lead, and then it jumps out, and right,
pretty much, yeah.
Which is like they drop the lead and they're like, yeah, but they have a little bit of remorse, and it's also a celebration. And then it jumps out like it's I can still survive that. And in the assembly cut, they don't add this little foreshadowing, which I thought was good, because in the theatrical cut, when they do the whole fire thing, and then there's that bucket that's super hot, and they hit the sprinkler, and then the bucket cracks a bunch, and that was a good foreshadowing. I don't think they added it
in the assembly cut.
Okay, so they do have that bucket. Okay, I couldn't remember if it was or not.
Yeah, no, it totally was. I specifically remember because I was watching for that.
Because that is a a big foreshadow to like how they get this idea immediately. It comes out, it's boiling hot, and I think it's Ripley or I can't remember if it's Ripley or Morris, or they just do it and they go, "Hey, hit the sprinklers," and they pull it.
I think they both. Ripley says it first. I think they both.
Yeah, I think it's both kind of like sprinklers, and they both run for like he runs for it because she's still kind of on that ledge.
She jumps out to the chain, grabs the lead, grabs the switch.
Yeah, that's it. And says, "Goodbye, fucker." That's it.
She pulls the switch, and then the fucking sprinkler turns on.
Yeah, he yells to her to start the sprinkler, and she does it. That's how that scene rolled out. And all this time, also, 85 was up at the top waiting for the rescue team to show up.
Oh, that's right.
So the rescue team is showing up, and he's like, "Oh, they're here!" Like, and he believes that there's no way that they would kill him. He's a company man. Yeah. The first thing they ask is Lieutenant Ripley okay? Or is she still alive? Yeah, she's down there. If she's still alive, she's down there in the furnace or in the lead works. So you see a bunch of shots, and one ominous shot of a character that you might know, but only if you know what happens in the next scene do you actually pay attention to the ominous shot of like the one guy standing there.
There's that one guy
who turns out
there's that one guy who walks out and he's like the guy from the Matrix or something almost, seems like.
Yeah.
He sticks out. I didn't know what the fuck that guy was.
It's Bishop.
That's right.
That's the guy who comes out at the end of the movie as the actual Wayland, but he actually is an android, but just a further.
That's where I am right now.
Yeah. So this is the scene.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we get to the ending where Bishop shows up, and so that's who it is. It's Wayland, and he pulls his thing off and he goes, "I'm the real one," which no fucking way is he. I don't believe that. I just don't. But there's a scene that kind of like it contradicts it, but it doesn't because
we have to be 200 years old too then.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It definitely when we get into Alien versus Predator, where the actor comes back and he plays another Wayland. Yeah. We'll get into those as a transition, we'll call it. But yes, the Alien. So it turns out that they send Wayland, like one of the heir to the Wayland company, which again I don't believe. And at first he's saying we will remove it, and we have to kill it. We have to kill it because they know it's a queen. They know everything about what's going on with her, what's in her. They know it all, and that they want it. And that's when 85 makes the bad like he has his little redemption moment. I mean, he gets fucking ruined after it. But he starts.
I haven't watched that part yet. Well, I've watched it, I guess, but I haven't rewatched that part yet. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's a little bit gorier again in this in the assembly cut. But he realizes that Wayland is a piece of shit, and he's just trying to get the alien, and they're all doomed. So he grabs a fucking pipe. And he has a redeem, and he goes and he cranks Wayland in the back of the fucking head, right in the ear. And if you look, his ear is torn like right the fuck off. Like say if it was a human, this is why I don't believe that he was actually a human, because even though it's real blood that's coming out, it's not the white milk. He cracks the dude in the ear, and with it must have cracked his fucking skull the way that he hits this guy, and still he's able to yell out, "I'm not a droid. I'm not But I honestly think he was, because the way he takes that hit.
I'm gonna finish watching it when we're done.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch the last 5 minutes or whatever I got left here.
Right, and then all of Wayland's guards turn on him and light him the fuck up. 85. They turn on 85 and they light him the fuck up. But he has his little redemption arc where he's like, I have been an idiot. These guys are bad. And then good for him. At least he does so. And Morris is the only one who's still alive through this, all of it. He's just laying there. And then Ripley and Wayland have their back and forth, where he goes like, just you have to do it, and she just goes, no. And then this is another thing that I think they did better in the theatrical cut, is when she jumps down to sacrifice herself.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
And in the theatrical cut, the alien bursts out of her chest.
Yeah.
It bursts out, and she grabs it, and there's the kind of like that, a moment where she finally stares it in the face and goes like, fuck you. You're coming with me. And that doesn't happen. You'll see it because you haven't finished it yet, but that chest bursting scene doesn't happen. And I think it was better in the theatrical cut with the Queen bursting out and her just seeing it like fuck you. Like just having that is a lot more emotional of an ending to the character that I thought needed to happen. And it was a lot more of a finalized. I mean, she jumps into a fucking thing of like molten lead. She should never be back for another movie.
Yeah.
But then Alien Resurrection happens.
Is that the next one I'm watching? Resurrection?
Alien Resurrection. It's the last one on that set, but it's also on. And there's no special. The difference between the theatrical and the director's cut or whatever is like a minute of stupid scenes that don't change the movie.
Oh, yeah.
This one, the reason I because of this one and Aliens, because the director's cuts or the expanded cuts make such a difference to the viewing experience that I really wanted you to watch both versions of both of those, like both movies. So you're watching 4 movies.
This version was way better, I thought.
Yeah, and it had a lot more character depth, more gore. The actions of the characters makes a lot more sense in it, and they don't kill a dog. Like
That's right. They just cut open a child instead.
Yeah, which they left
in both. Yeah.
Because it's in both.
Instead was the wrong word to use.
Yeah, but no, they used the goddamn. Yeah. So again, what's your final thoughts on the whole take of the movie?
Spike, is that you?
Right? And are there any things you want to bring up that I haven't brought up, or any questions you have?
Not really. No. One thing that bothered me was the beginning of this movie. Mostly the first time I watched it. The second time I watched it made a little bit more sense. It's just when they're rolling the credits at the beginning.
Yeah.
It fucking takes forever. And it was like, it reminded me of Spaceballs almost, with the ship that just doesn't quit fucking going. But they're showing little
clips of the alien egg.
When I rewatched the movie the second time, I caught the clips made more sense to me. So it didn't bother me nearly as much as it did the first time watching it.
But I could absolutely, because it is like a 5-minute like introduction. Great, like it's like
I was like, what in the fuck? It's like it's just gonna end. There's more space and stars, and then there's a little clip, and there goes a name,
right?
And then there's space,
right?
And then there's a little clip,
another name,
and then there's another name, and you're just like,
right?
The ship just keeps going over your head.
Literally,
it's like, fuck.
And it just keeps saying Sulaco, so you know it's the old ship. Like that's the other thing that I noticed when I watched it. Is
Spaceballs. It just reminded me of Spaceballs.
Yeah,
I don't know if as far as rate, I'd give it like a 6.5 probably. I didn't.
Okay, so that's better than I expected, because a lot of people have such very competitive feelings of it. Some of them, and I don't like the movie for the fact of where they went with it. I mean, just because I love the characters from Aliens so much, but once I got over that fact of it and took it in as a movie, I started to really respect it a lot more. So I give it still, again, like a 6.5 at the most. 6 probably, but I wouldn't go to quite a 7, because it still has the rod puppets, the bad effects, but the production value, like you really do feel like you're in this prison, this like vast prison. Like it doesn't feel like you're on a set.
No.
For any of it. So I thought they did really good with that, but it also really ham-fisted what the hell they were what they were gonna do. Like they kind of got strangle-held. Of okay, so we can't leave this area because they put $20 million into these fucking sets. So there goes like a huge part of our so they had to keep it there no matter what, and then it got dwindled down because they didn't have money for actors, because they kept spending more money on shit that didn't matter. And
well, the actors that they picked for this movie they were all pretty awesome. There was none of them.
Yeah,
none of them made me go. That guy kind of
was cringy. I mean. Maybe the rapist guy with the teardrop, that was like one of those guys.
Yeah.
The art piss.
Yeah.
But that was their character arc, was to just be these shitty people, and then to kind of show that
he did that well.
Yeah.
Showed that he was.
Yeah.
He was
like a shitty person,
screaming
right?
And whatnot. Small part.
And then Dylan coming in and just cracking that. That's probably one of my.
Dylan is great.
Because
he almost steals the show, I think, especially the back half of the movie.
Absolutely, because Ripley just wants to die for the back half, so she doesn't really have much character growth. She's been through it all. You know what I mean? Like she just wants to die. She knows that the alien is inside of her. She wants to die for like the back half of the movie. So Dylan is the one that's really the No, I'm going to use you. If it's not going to kill you, and then like
what else? What else has that guy been in? Do you even know?
I actually don't know, and I know he's been in a lot of movies, and I actually want to find more because he's great. Like he really nailed this role.
He did fucking great, great, but he didn't look familiar to me. It's like I don't know if I've ever seen him in anything else.
I think he did a few in the '90s, but because this movie had such a bad it killed the Alien franchise for 10 years.
Yeah.
Early 8 years.
Anybody
8 years.
That had anything to do with it got dragged into that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Even if you were a fucking standout.
Even if you stood out and were like a great part of
potential performance of your life. He was great. He
Absolutely.
played his part great. Like fucking,
absolutely.
Like fucking great. Kind of like Eli Wallace in the fucking Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Like the ugly steals the show.
Absolutely. I think that's kind of the take he went with it. Like, I am a bad person, but I still have my kind of morals. And I, and I'm leading this band of fucking assholes. And you're disrupting it by being a woman. But then
warrior spirit.
But then he gives it, and he's like he wants to be more spiritual. Like he doesn't care. He just wants to be left alone. Mm-hmm. Even when all they're like, you should be the leader. You lead all of us anyways. He's like, no, I ain't no fucking officer. I don't know how to do that shit.
As far as all the special effects and stuff go, maybe it's because I'm older than you, but I mean, obviously your dad was older than you too. But I mean, I watched a lot of movies that had a lot shittier effects.
That's true.
The effects in this movie, they didn't really jump out at me. I don't think nearly as bad as they did to you at being shitty.
Yeah. And I guess because this movie had such a tent pole for their special effects for the two leading up to it, that there's just a few shots, and they really tried to cut it down as much as they could.
You did a great job of pointing them out to me tonight when we were doing this, because none of them really jumped out at me when I was watching either version of the special effects being really that shitty. You maybe not spectacular, but like I said, I've seen so much worse too. But.
Yeah, and then there was because there's the other thing of that, like in the early 2000s, the CGI got really bad. So I would hope that if they would have done this movie in '93, 1 year later, and CGI was incorporated, that they would have not gone full CGI like some later movies do. Not Resurrection, but like some of the Alien vs Predator, they go very CGI heavy. And
was Jurassic Park all part of the same company?
Fox, I think Fox
separate
did Jurassic Park.
Because they might have been forcing Alien 3 to come out just because they didn't want it to have they wanted the Jurassic Park thing to be
to really take off.
To be the launching movie.
And I think that was it, because it's much more family friendly, like Jurassic Park. Like it was a lot more easy to sell tickets to that than this. Mm-hmm. Because even though it's a sequel to Aliens and all that, once the word of mouth got out, it was hard to get people into it. Like, oh, that's a dark fucking movie. It is so dark. Like, it is very depressing as a movie.
I don't mind the darkness. Kind of like The Empire Strikes Back, right?
That was it has to have that.
It's kind of nice to have a movie that ends that way once in a while
instead
flowers
of
and pizza,
right? And Chewbacca not getting a medal. That's a whole different thing, right? And they finally give it to him, even though it's fucking Han's medal later on. That's bullshit. In the sequels,
Star Wars is a whole different fucking.
Whole other franchise we might crack into.
That's a fucking enormous one now.
Yeah, exactly. So I would probably only start with like the trilogies at most.
Oh yeah. I just finished. Yeah. All I'm gonna say, I just finished watching episode 3 of season 2 of Andor, and that fucking episode is fan-fucking-tastic.
Good. I'm gonna wait for.
Episode, I was just like, this is fucking great. Like.
Good. Because I watched the first episode, then I was like, I'm going to hold off, and I'm going to wait for the rest of the season. I just wanted to get like a kind of feel for it again. So I watched the first episode to kind of get myself back, and they're like, oh, okay, I'm going to wait for the rest of the season. So episode 3 is a good one to wait for. I like to know that.
Aren't they all out now? Isn't this thing done?
Yeah, I think the finale just did happen, last week.
I think they're all really that recent.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was.
Yeah, I think that they have been just airing. Yeah, I think Andor, the finale just happened maybe a week ago or two.
I'm not that far behind then.
No.
Yeah.
And I think Andor is one of my other favorite out of the Star Wars, but
I'm liking it. I mean, I'm only into episode.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm watching episode 5 now, but
Yeah.
I think there's 12 episodes if I remember right.
Yeah.
So far,
it doesn't have space witches.
So not yet, anyhow.
Right? Yeah. Fair enough.
Anyway,
don't watch The Acolyte. So, yeah,
well, I'm gonna watch it, but
yes,
I'm gonna try to. It's not. It's
Yes,
not one of the
but-
animated ones, is it? Yeah.
no, it's fully done.
Yeah, no, I'll try to.
it's
I'll try
something.
to sit through it, just because other than the animated shit, or I shouldn't say shit.
You've watched everything.
I've watched everything. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Obviously I haven't watched the one. What'd you say, the Acolyte?
Yeah.
I found it on there, but yeah, I didn't even know about that one.
Yeah, it got kind of thrown out and then got like buried.
Oh yeah, when did that
But-
one come out?
2 years ago, I think,
Oh, yeah.
at the most, maybe even last year.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's. I think stuff is cool. It's Star Wars stuff still, but it gets bogged down by the same stuff Ahsoka got bogged down by, but to a in your face fucking way. Yeah.
Ahsoka got me a little bit on just the costumes,
Yeah, it was a bit
know,
much.
like Ahsoka herself. Just
Yeah.
her thing or whatever. It just
Or
looked.
tendrils.
Yeah, they didn't. They looked like they were styrofoamy.
Yeah, they didn't look like they were actually part of her.
No,
ever.
They didn't,
I didn't think so either.
They didn't cling to her the way you would think that. But anyways, whatever.
Right. Anyways, this is Alien 3. We have finally gotten through the original trilogy of Alien. I guess Carl still has to finish the end of Assembly.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the original trilogy, and this movie killed the franchise for about 10 years. And then they came out with Alien Resurrection, which is going to come out probably next week. I'm free to do this pretty much weekly. So yeah. So I think Alien Resurrection will be our next one, and we'll come into that. And I got again a lot of behind the scenes story about that, because it was written by the writer director of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and the first two was Joss Whedon, and the guy that came in and fucked up Zack Snyder's Justice League. That Joss Whedon, who was actually he was a well-renowned director for a long time, and then shit came out about him too. So he's been kind of shut down. Yeah, fuck Jay.
I don't know all this stuff.
Yeah,
I learned from you.
But he wrote it as, in his question, he says it was a parody movie. It was a script. He only wrote that movie. They got a weird French director to direct that movie, and I will get into that in Resurrection. But Joss Whedon wrote it, but it was supposed to be more of a parody script of Alien, but they turned it into a real sequel.
This one?
And the next one, Resurrection.
Resurrection.
Yeah,
no, that's the French.
Yeah, French director.
Okay.
Yeah. This one had David Fincher, and this the one who did Alien 3 went on to do Fight Club, Seven, lot of great movies, a lot, and he even did one of my favorite TV shows on Netflix, Mindhunters. Really great. All about
I saw a clip for that. Yeah.
All about serial killers and how the term serial killers came to be, and the first FBI guys to actually go out and talk to these guys and be able to profile killers. It's a really good show, and he's a great director, and he went on to do a lot of big things. But this movie is.
Yeah, watch that.
Yeah, you might have. It was a really good show and really good actors. But David Fincher, he has written himself. He wants nothing, and he was 24, 25 years old when he got pulled into this.
I think he's being a little hard on himself, though.
Absolutely, but it was because of how the studio changed everything on him.
How they treated him.
Yeah. He a lot of people have really come around on this movie now, because it wasn't his script. It wasn't he came in and
considering what they did to him.
Yeah.
He managed to pull off pretty fucking pretty solid.
Definitely once the assembly cut came out, where it was more of his vision. Because the theatrical cut was the one that came out that everybody knew, and they went, "Oh, this movie kind of sucks." There's things that don't make sense, and characters do things. And why do they focus on Golic a lot in the theatrical cut when he has no purpose in that version? There's just a lot of wasted screen time and stuff, and so it was seen to be a
true
bad,
enough. True enough. That's probably
badly made movie.
That's probably the biggest reason why he doesn't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this version, which was
yeah,
it wasn't a horrible movie.
No, and it makes a lot more sense than the theatrical version. Like
it does, yeah.
The editing is a lot better, and yeah, because he filmed it all and he just walked away from it, and the studio just butchered, and they reshot all the things with the dog and put that in there. That wasn't, he never shot any of that. Like they did reshoots after he did the initial shooting and stuff. With
really?
second director. Yeah. So when he actually saw it, he's like, this is not my, even everything I went through, and they're not even showing the fucking movie I made. So that's kind of why he wrote himself away from it. But I think it's a good installment. I don't think it should have killed the franchise. I know it could have went in different ways, but it's still better than Prometheus. I would rather watch this movie again than Prometheus any day. And even though it's dark as shit, like, you have to be in kind of a mood.
I would too. Yeah. I would way rather watch this movie than Prometheus.
Yeah.
Movie full of great characters to a movie with none.
Yeah. Like no characters. No worthwhile characters.
Charlize Theron.
Yeah. Right? For a few scenes, and then she's bitchy. And then she's kind of hot. Then she's bitchy. Then she's kind of hot. Also, thank you, John Shuri, for being the one guy that sat there and is in the chat and has been here throughout the whole fucking thing. You watched the whole live, man. That is spectacular, my dude. So thank you. Yeah, I was like, who is the one that's watching? And then right near the end, when we were like just about to sign out, he was like, oh yeah, well done, you guys. I loved it. And I was like, holy shit, he's been here the whole time. Yeah, there he is. Damn straight, my friend. Thank you, Johnny boy. I love it. Woohoo! Yeah.
You can see how long the delay is.
Yeah. There it is.
Okay, I'll quit fucking around.
All right, but thanks again, Carl, for being part of this movie experiment. I had to really makeshift my studio for filming this. I got better light than usual, but I'm in the middle of something pretty. That's going to happen soon.
It's progressing.
Absolutely.
You'll be able to make a clip video in a couple of years' time of the progression of your studio.
Absolutely. When it started from the couch videos to
exactly.
Right? Yeah. That's Alien 3. I don't hate the movie. I understand why people didn't like the movie. If you're ever going to watch the movie again, watch the assembly cut, find a version, go buy the DVD box set. It's probably pretty cheap. Just do it, man. Just do it. If you can't find it streaming anywhere, it's worth it. And then you have all the other movies too. Like, I'm a box set guy, and I like it. Yeah, and it also in that box set they have the director's cut of all the other movies, and so that, and there's actually a 4K version of the same quadrilogy that's out now. So if you have 4K, go check that out. It's great, because it's funny that you have this one, because the one I had, you have my DVD version right now. But when I was growing up, I had a VHS version of the same quadrilogy, but they were all on tapes. And it was like 5 tapes, because one of them was all the special making of behind the scene for each movie. Mm-hmm. It was like a whole tape that was just dedicated to that. But yeah, before DVDs, there's like this big beach that I haven't been able to find. I have one. Where did I put it? I have one of the VHSs, and it's of Aliens itself left. I can't find the box.
Oh, that's.
But I still have just the Aliens. So like just that the sequel, and yeah. So that I'm keeping that. And that's going to go with me probably in my grave. Be kind, please rewind. And again, I know it's only Johnny that's been here tonight, but keep an eye on my channel, because I'm going to put out an edited version and throw in the clips we're talking about to make a little bit more sense, and just have a lot of fun with this. I'm getting back into my editing. It's going to take a while, because this is like a 2 hour, just past 2 hour mark. So
holy shit balls.
Right? Wow. So I also should probably get to sleep. And I think my wife's here somewhere hiding. I don't know. I think she showed up. So I should go deal with that. See what happens there. Anyways, yeah. Thanks again. Great having you. And stay tuned for Alien Resurrection, the next one.
Yep. Hell yeah.
Now, how do I end this shit?
That's the part I always fight with too.
All right. Nope. Oh, there it is. Bye, guys.